First up on Ag Etc., we take an inside look on how regenerative medicine healed a chronically lame horse. Next, rains have caused problems for producers in Kansas, and K-State agronomist Ignacio Ciampitti talks evaluating your field and deciding if you should replant corn. Then we get some nutritional advice as we are evaluating our vaccination and weaning protocols. Next, we are on the farm with Sandra Wick and producer Fred Severance discussing wheat, and we will end with Dr. John Foltz from Ohio State University talking about building and sustaining alliances. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
My name is Joanne Mulvey. Our horses never crossed Samantha, otherwise known as Sammy. She came up lame, and I had the vet come out, and at that time I noticed that she had stocked up on her right front, and she had a little, like a pinprick of blood and pus that were coming out. From there, she developed a chronic wound. She had surgery done up at the University of Madison. We have tried numerous types of medications and all different types of treatments, and nothing has really gotten it to heal completely.
Well, she is my partner in crime for everything, basically, so she keeps me safe out on course. You know, our jumps, what we do, it's dangerous. And to be able to completely trust a horse like that, it's awesome. And I trust her with my life, I do.
Well, Sammy's injury was very devastating to start. She had an initial infection under the skin that then caused a lot to die, and which is what made it so traumatic. And those wounds, when they try to heal, the horse doesn't have enough skin to heal back and cover it. So it's a lot of scar tissue. It's not as good as what normally happens, and then it's a problem that continually breaks open and is a big scar there. So I think regenerative medicine, specifically stem cells, and then in some aspects the platelet-rich fibrin in a couple of areas of Sammy's wounds will hopefully be able to allow this tissue that regenerates to become more normal is the goal.
So we kind of took all the knowledge that's been published in the literature and we put it together and developed our own protocols. So basically the stem cells are like, you can pretty much apply to a multitude of disease protocols or standard of care where stem cells will complement for treating multiple diseases.
We got Sammy, and then my husband died, and she was everything for Kira. I mean, it really kept her together. So that's why she's more than a horse to us, and why it was so important that we try and do everything we can to get her healed.
It was definitely a process to get Sammy healed. We had her ups and downs, and she went through 2 surgeries and 2 skin grafts, one of which failed, and which ultimately allowed us to realize what we needed to do. And so through sort of the excellent wound management and the combination of stem cells and platelet-rich fibrin with that, we sure had a really nice, successful outcome here.
Just the healing of her wounds and the fact that all of this hair has regenerated, it's incredible. I mean, everything that they've done, all of the people who have been a part of this situation, I cannot thank enough. And I'm so grateful.
It has been a very long journey. I just wanted her to be able to be a horse again, and to be able to even ride her anymore is just amazing.
To watch Kira ride that horse, I have to tell you, anything about business or politics or universities or our company, it goes out the window. I mean, we gave that girl her friend back, and we did it because we know what regenerative medicine can do if you'll use it and just get out of its way and let it do what it does.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
For our farmers, we need to start looking at those fields. The crop that has been already planted, that crop, as I mentioned before, is growing quite slow. And then the second problem that we are facing at this moment is some of the corn in the low areas has been underwater. And so we have situations of, corn with 24, 48 hours underwater. Those plants that were with maybe more than 48 hours underwater may be dying. Based on the average of number of plants and mortality, replanting could be a solution. Based on the price of the crop, we really need to be careful about taking that decision. And I think that we need to start looking at what is a pattern of, is a uniform, was just in one section of the field, several acres, or if the pattern is not uniform. In many situations, if we have less than 20 or 30% of plants that are out, it's just better to keep the crop going. Yeah. I will always recommend to farmers, priority today is to make sure that you plant your fields. And that's the number one priority. Make sure to go back to those fields that you planted early and try to do some scouting. That will be helping you to assess the level of damage and to start to put some strategy of what is the best fields that you should maybe need to go back right away. Second problem that we will be facing, many farmers already discussed is a crop insurance. So we're being pushed at this point, late May, deadline for planting. Priority today is to make sure that you plant your fields, and that's the number one priority. So as soon as you have any time, and it might be in between rains, make sure to go back to those fields that you planted early and try to do some scouting. That will be helping you to assess the level of damage and to start to put some strategy of what is the best fields that you should maybe need to go back right away. Concentrate and may focus on the new planting area.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer it and work with you.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil, featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Purina nutritionist N.T. Cosby says, ensuring a healthy calf begins long before it arrives.
Really, we need to back up and actually think about how we're taking care of that cow. and making sure that even before that calf is born, we're providing good nutrition for that cow. That's going to translate to a healthier calf at calving, better quality colostrum, and get that calf off to a good start.
Vaccinations are good tools in herd health management, but they're not the singular answer.
We know that in order for vaccinations to work, immunizations to work most effectively, it needs to be combined with a good quality nutrition program. And that starts, as we mentioned, with the cow, and a good quality mineral nutrition program for the cow, and then having the appropriate feeds available to animals at time of stress.
Although weaning might be at the top of the stress list, Cosby suggests there are many more stressors, like anytime feed changes happen.
So, of course, weaning would be the first one. As we transition cattle from maybe a weaning diet to a finishing diet, that could be a time. Of course, weather stress, we can't affect any of those necessarily, other than having good environment.
Besides vaccinations and good nutrition, there's another link to consider. It's not all on the farm or ranch.
I believe is talk to consumers about that's our goal. That is our goal. No cattle producer wants to have to use antibiotics in an injudicious manner. So I think that's a lot of what we can do and be proactive, that we are caring for the health of our animals, using antibiotics in coordination with a veterinarian to make sure that we are keeping cattle healthy and our food supply very, very safe in this country.
I'm Bob Cervera.
I'm Rexanne Struve, veterinarian in Western Iowa. I have a veterinary clinic and started doing stem cell therapy on dogs in August of 2014. And after the first 2 dogs, after 3 weeks, I saw such dramatic results. I said, hey, I have arthritis, I have joints that really need this help. Where can I go to get this done? I had stem cell therapy done in November of 2014 on my finger joints, my hip, and the ball of my left foot, all of which I'd had real severe problems with. Saw a pretty dramatic improvement in a short amount of time. I would certainly recommend that somebody don't wait until I'm in the position that I was in with the damage already done to my joints. I encourage veterinarians to use it for their animals, and I encourage anybody who sees this video, if you have need, get in contact with these people, because this is a phenomenal place to have this done.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
We wanted to take some time out of Fred's schedule today and just visit with him about his wheat crop. You know, the wheat crop has been pretty challenging the last 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of people maybe didn't get as much wheat drilled this past fall that they wanted to. So kind of, if you could share with our audience here kind of the amount of acres maybe that you'd get drilled or that you didn't get drilled.
In a normal year, I'll plant about half my acres to wheat, and half of that will be wheat into wheat, and the other half will be double crop after soybeans. And this year I actually did get all of my acres in. I am 100% no-till, so the fact that the ground was able to take on that much moisture since October the 15th or whatever that was until now really helped out, and I could stay on top of the ground. I'm not saying that all of the rows are straight or that there aren't some skips out there, but all of it went in.
Okay, great. Well, wheat certainly has come back in the number of acres the last few years. We have not been as very fortunate on the price, that's not come back around. And so farmers were kind of backing away from, planting their wheat acres. And I think they're kind of coming back in. So why do you see that it's important to keep wheat acres in your cropping rotation?
For me, there's really two answers to that. The first is that as I was saying earlier about the portions that I plant, half of my acres will be in wheat in a normal year. Okay. The other half will be in either beans or milo. Okay. And if I keep that rotation on a regular basis, it really helps me out with prices so that not all my eggs are in one basket. Right. It helps me out with expenses because one crop it really helps the other crops along as far as weed control and fertility. But the big thing is that I use wheat to clean up acres that might have had some problems with weed control.
Okay. So we are fortunate that for you guys that our wheat breeders are continually, developing new wheat varieties out here for us. And I know in the last couple of years we've had a lot of new wheat varieties, that's come on the market. So it's kind of hard sometimes to keep up with those wheat varieties. So how do you go about selecting your different varieties that you select on half of your acres?
The extension bulletin that tells you what the wheat's made last year and the plot data that you can get either online or at the office are the only indicator of what we can expect for next year. Disease packages are so important. Milling quality is so important that you have to look at those things well in advance. If you go with the same varieties you have always planted, you'll get the same results you've always gotten, except a little less, because your disease package wears out, and millers change what they want. For instance, this one is Paradise from Polanski, and one of the big things was they have looked good in the tests for a lot of years now. Mm-hmm. So.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking about the local research test plots here.
Absolutely.
And we're fortunate that we have actually two locations that are fairly close here. Belleville, which is just east of here.
You bet.
And they have lots of variety trials there. We also have Hayes, that's fairly close. And we actually are fortunate in the Post Rock District here in Mitchell County. We have one of the replicated wheat test plots that the Belleville site plants for us there. And Marty Fletchaw has been a strong producer that's been a cooperator for several years. So it takes a lot of extra time, lots of effort, and more effort to put in a test plot.
And the nice thing about that is when you have that many plots within a relatively small area, you can replicate what acres you will be planting on. In other words, is it going to be a little drier soil? Well, maybe look closer to Hayes. Have you got some heavier ground? Look at Belleville. And Marty's a good farmer and he does a good job every year. So, what he does for us, we should thank him every day.
Okay, and I might just explain what we mean by replicated plot. It's a little bit different than maybe some of the test plots that we have out here, but a replication means that one wheat variety is planted at least 4 times within that small area, and then you account for part of the variability that can be within that field. Now, some of the other plots that we do, we'll have check varieties, which help measure that accuracy too in the field. What we mean by check varieties, every 5 or 6 we'll use the same variety, and then we'll adjust the rest of the plot to that variety.
As a standard.
So, exactly. Okay, another kind of area that's, the wheat is growing very good out here now, but so's along with the weeds. They're really popping up now. So it seems like there's a lot of mustard species out here. It could be blue mustard, tansy mustard, flicksweed. So again, Mother Nature really hasn't maybe cooperated with us as much. We're a little late maybe of getting on our top dress along with our herbicide program.
Absolutely.
So at this point, have you been able to get into this wheat field yet to get top dressed or some weed herbicide?
This one has not been top dressed yet. It had about 45 pounds in it when I planted it and about 38 pounds of FOS, but I will go ahead and put on another 55 pounds of N and another 35 pounds of FOS, because that's what I will carry into my next milo crop.
Okay.
I have wheat for 2 years. The second year, I have to adjust my chemical to be a contact herbicide so that the cover crop I put in here will be unaffected by the weed control.
Okay. Okay.
It's worked out really well for me for the past 15 years. Nothing gets out of hand, and I know I'm going to rotate it anyway, so let her rip.
Okay, and you brought up a really good point on, you're going to put so much on now, so much on later to carry over your crop. What we really recommend, I know you're a really advocate, promoter of that, is for soil testing.
Absolutely.
Because that's really the only way that you're going to know exactly what's out here in that field.
The difference between a bet and an investment is whether you know what's already out there. I used to go by removal rate, and that was even a step up from, well, you know, the neighbor always put down 60 pounds of N and 20 pounds of FOS. Now we find out that we're capable of a whole lot more. Once you start soil testing, you actually have information that you can make an educated decision on. Mm-hmm. And besides that, I'm cheap. If I don't have to put on that much N, I'm going to tighten back a little bit.
Right. Right. And K-State Research and Extension does have a soil testing lab. There are many other soil testing laboratories that are available out there. So I'm not going to promote one or the other. We just want to promote people to get it done.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me, let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
So, preparing yourself. This is where you move from just working with your peers to now I'm in charge of folks and I've got to influence people. So your decision making becomes more political. It's less about authority and more about influence. I will tell you that's very true on college campuses. You think we've got our own set of problems in Washington, D.C. I agree. Politics. But I will tell you that the politics at the university, they're pretty deep. And so what I've had to do is decide who are the people that I've got to align myself with and who do I need to talk to. So it's the issues are incredibly complex. A lot of things are really ambiguous, and that's what you're hired for when you become the new boss, is figure these sort of things out. So you've got to become effective at building and sustaining alliances. I will tell you in my department, amongst those 40 faculty, I've got 11 that were hired within the last 3 or 4 years. And I've got a bunch of old timers, kind of like me, and then I've got not very many people in between. We've got a really big generation gap. So trying to integrate those groups and make them all feel good about what they're doing. The young people are worried about, you know, moving through the ranks of the university, and the old timers are like, oh, you guys just need to work hard and keep your head down, and they're not talking to each other too much. And so it's this thing about how do I build and sustain alliances amongst them. So looking at ways to influence. And then my boss, the dean. So I've got to work with her and a lot of politics.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.